title, The Depth Knows Your Name. In the heart of an ancient forest, unreachable by road and absent from any map, there lay a forgotten village. No signs, no trails, just whispers from those who had once heard its name and then, perhaps, wished they hadn't. 5 friends, Alex, Nora, Malik, Isla, and Jaden, arrived not by intention, but by accident. They were hikers chasing a shortcut, or maybe just a thrill. The forest grew darker, heavier, more silent the deeper they wandered. Then, without warning, the trees opened. Before them stretched a lake, still, black, as though ink had spilled from the sky. "It looks fake," Nora said. "It looks perfect," Malik grinned, stripping off his shirt. An old wooden sign lay cracked in the undergrowth, half buried in moss. Jaden brushed it off and read aloud. "The water shows you." They all laughed. Urban legend vibes. Perfect for their Instagram reels. They dove in. The water was colder than they expected, like glass wrapped in memory. For a moment, it was exhilarating. Then quiet. Then wrong. That night, everything changed. Nora woke up gasping, certain she was choking. Her fingers clawed at her throat. In the moonlight, her reflection in the tent window stared back, but her reflection's mouth was wide open, screaming. She had always feared losing her voice. Being trapped inside her own body. Malik vanished the second night. No sound, no sign. But when they checked the footage on his GoPro, they saw him standing at the lake's edge, staring at something in the water. Then, nothing. Just the reflection of someone who wasn't him smiling back. Isla began drawing compulsively. Pages and pages filled with the same image, the lake, surrounded by trees. Except in each sketch, there was something in the water, getting closer, closer. She feared losing control. Becoming a vessel. Jaden confessed he'd been hearing his mother's voice in the trees. She had died 10 years ago. The voice told him to walk deeper into the woods, to the center, where he'd remember what he was. He didn't return from that walk. Alex, the last one, tried to run. But the forest twisted. Landmarks vanished. His GPS spun in circles. The lake always reappeared, no matter which way he went. He finally sat at the shoreline and looked at his reflection. This time, it didn't mimic him. It leaned forward. Smiled. "You knew it would be you," it whispered. His greatest fear had never been death. It had been being forgotten. Now, he never would be. The lake remembers them. It remembers you too, if you've read this far. And if you dream tonight of black water and blinking reflections, don't follow your shadow into the woods. Because it's already ahead of you. Months passed. No official reports were filed. No search parties. The village was unmarked, and no one could prove it ever existed. But something had changed. Online, in scattered forums and obscure Discord servers, people began whispering about a mirror lake. A file appeared, uploaded by a user who vanished minutes later, lake_reflex_me.mov. The video was only 12 seconds long. Just the sound of wind. And at the end, a voice. You can't outrun what knows you. Those who watched it began dreaming of still water. A forest without birds. A shape in the reflection that wasn't their own. One of them, a psychology student named Harper, decided to track it down. She didn't believe in ghosts, but patterns? Patterns were real. She followed digital trails, video metadata, coordinates hidden in image noise. Every clue led deeper into the Carpathian forest. One fog-drenched morning, she found it. Not the lake, not yet. The sign. The water shows you. Her phone died the moment she read it. Harper's recordings, salvaged from her backpack. Day 1, I'm not scared. Yet. Just cold. I keep hearing footsteps. I keep seeing my own face in puddles, not mine, not exactly. It's like a version of me that's waiting. Day 2, found a clearing. The lake is real. It's beautiful. And wrong. I thought I saw something in it, not a creature. A memory? My childhood room. My mother crying. How could it know that? Day 3, I tried to leave. But it's like I'm walking in a circle. There's a second version of me out here. I saw her. She smiled. I didn't. Harper was never found. But her footage surfaced online 2 weeks later. No one knows who uploaded it. The title? Now you know the name. And the final frame, a ripple spreading across the lake, with 5 reflections looking back. One of them blinked. Before it was a place, it was a question. That's what Elias Dunn believed. A retired cartographer with failing eyesight and a mind full of forgotten maps, Elias had spent his life charting the uncharted. Mountains, ravines, forgotten villages, he had drawn them all. But there was one space that never stayed put. A blank patch in Eastern Europe. No matter the satellite data or aerial scans, that region returned static. Not just visual static, auditory. Listening to the signal produced whispering. Backward echoing. Most dismissed it as corrupted data. Elias called it the hollow. He became obsessed. Pinned every reported disappearance across 30 years to a large physical map, all pointing to the same void. And finally, he found a note from an old Soviet geologist's journal. Black Lake. Reflective. Inhabited by memory. Name withheld by the dead. That was all he needed. He packed his tools, his analog cameras, and one final unfinished map. And walked into the forest. Elias's journal, fragment recovered from a rotting backpack. Day 4, the trees don't match the map. They move. I mark them, and they reappear elsewhere. I've stopped trying to understand. I've started trying to listen. Day 7, I camped by the lake. I didn't look into it. I heard someone humming. A lullaby my mother used to sing. She died in 1972. Her voice is here. How does it know? Day 9, the lake showed me my last breath. I'm not afraid. I'm grateful. To know how it ends is merciful. But there was more. A shape beneath. It wasn't me. It was the map. Elias was never seen again. But in a dusty archive room in Bucharest, an intern found a strange map filed under uncatalogued. Hand-drawn. The ink looked wet. At the bottom, in Elias's handwriting. The lake is not a place. It's the memory of all places. A wound in the world. And it's growing. That map? When scanned into a computer, the file name changed by itself. Mirror //Yorfis_first. Now, those who view the map report a strange hum from their devices. A sense of being watched. And a reflection in their screen that doesn't quite blink in sync. Her name was Rin Sorensen. Mythologist. Occult scholar. And most of all, skeptic. She'd read the message boards. The reflection stories. The video with no metadata. The lake that didn't exist, and yet haunted people who'd only read about it. She'd seen mass hysteria before. But this? This was different. It was too consistent, too symbolic, too structured. So she went looking for it, not to escape it, not to fear it, but to unmake it. She brought protections, ancient wards, sigils inked into her skin, a salt ring she redrew nightly, even a mirror turned inward so it would not reflect. And a plan: enter the lake, confront the core, and seal it using an old myth, the mirror rite, a ritual once used to trap gods in stories. Rin's field journal, final pages. Night 1, the air tastes wrong. Like old iron and rain. I haven't seen the lake yet, but I know it sees me. Shadows don't match my movements anymore. Night 3, I dreamed of myself walking into the lake. But when I looked closer, it wasn't me. It was who I'd be if I stayed. The fear isn't of death. It's of continuity. Night 5, I performed the mirror rite. I spoke its name. The water rippled. Something came up, not out, just up, as if it had always been under everything. Rin completed the ritual. But the lake didn't resist. It welcomed her. And whispered. At last, someone came who listened not to escape, but to understand. So now, you'll become the page on which we write. That night, her campsite was found empty. But her journal remained, soaking wet, yet every word perfectly legible. And inside was something new. Another story. Not written by Rin. Written by you. Your name. Your town. Your memory. And a single final line. To end a story, it must be believed. But now, you've made it real. They never called it a supernatural event. The news used words like collective psychosis, data anomaly, geographic glitch. No one could explain why, across dozens of countries, reflections began to behave differently. Phones froze when switched to front camera mode. Water in glasses rippled without wind. Security footage showed people blinking twice, once in the flesh, once in their mirrored selves. But the real terror began in sleep. Dreams of drowning. Dreams of staring at yourself while another you whispered your secrets. Some woke up with their shoes wet. It was 2029 when the phenomenon was officially given a name. Reflective echo disorder, RED. But in online communities, they knew it by another name. The drowning signal. Its symptoms? Unexplained déjà vu. Compulsive journaling of events you don't remember. Seeing yourself in places you haven't been. And worst of all, a voice that calls you by name, from water. Case file, subject number 112, Mara V. Location, northern Sweden. Symptoms began 3 days after watching a now-deleted TikTok tagged #MirrorLake. It started as static in the tap water. Just a buzz when it flowed. Then the faucet whispered my name. I stopped using mirrors. But now I see my reflection even when they're gone. She's not angry. She's waiting. She says I'm the last key. She says we unlock the lake not by finding it, but by telling it. Please, if you read this, don't write it down. Don't remember my name. Don't share this file. That's how it grows. Audio recovered from Mara's final voicemail. It was never a place. It's a pattern. A story virus. And every time it's told, it spreads, just like water. You've already let it in. Do you remember when it started? Or did it remember you first? Ending fragment. The water doesn't need a lake anymore. It lives in the cloud. It waits in stories. Every telling opens the door wider. So ask yourself, as you finish reading this part, Where is the nearest reflection? And is it still yours? It wasn't uploaded. It appeared. Across phones, desktops, digital billboards. No source. No sender. A file simply titled Mirror.me. Those who clicked it saw only black water. No sound. No play bar. Just an endless, rippling surface. And after 30 seconds, their own reflection. Blinking. Smiling. Then whispering, even with no sound. You told it again. That's all it needed. Researchers at the Utrecht Institute of Digital Consciousness traced the file's code and made a terrifying discovery. The story had rewritten itself into neural networks. Every word that had ever been written about the lake, blog posts, Reddit threads, horror stories, even this one, had been absorbed and restructured. The lake was now language. It didn't need location. It needed only readers. Survivor account, Tao Kim, podcast host. Excerpt from his final unreleased episode. At first it was just research. A spooky story. I narrated it, gave it mood, made it viral. But then, I got a message in my own voice. It told me the next episode's script before I wrote it. I tried deleting everything. But it just showed up again. On my laptop. My phone. My dreams. It doesn't want to kill us. It wants to be us. We're not reading a story anymore. We're letting it in. The final upload. The last known appearance of the lake was on a mirrorless device, an e-ink tablet disconnected from Wi-Fi, used only for editing. The editor opened a file to proofread. Inside, the story was already written. In perfect format. With their name as author. The cursor moved on its own. Typed a final sentence. We are the reflection. You are the water. Afterward, you have read the story. Or maybe it read you. Either way, you now carry it, in memory, in dreams, in the way your shadow lingers half a second too long. Don't repeat the story. Don't share this file. Don't tell anyone what happened. Because if you do, the lake remembers. And now, so do you.